407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
Abraham's speech was about 3 minutes, so short in fact that no one was able to photograph it.
The Battle of Gettysburg was fought from July the 1st till July the 3rd of 1863.
After 3 days of heavy fighting, the Southerners were turned back and again retreated into Virginia. The Battle of Gettysburg. Robert E. Lee invaded Pennsylvania in June of 1863, hoping by threatening Washington and Philadelphia to break Northern morale and finally gain recognition and independence for the Southern Confederacy. At the conclusion of the Battle of Gettysburg, President Abraham Lincoln expressed disappointment that General Meade allowed General Lee's group to escape to Virginia. Massive amounts of people that were injured, killed in action. Many large buildings within the very small town of Gettysburg turned into hospitals. The biggest battle was on the second day. Over 100,000 soldiers turned out, 20,000 killed. On that Battle of Gettysburg contained the most collective casualties of any battle of the entire Civil War. At the conclusion of the Battle of Gettysburg, 63 Union soldiers were given a Medal of Honor. It became abundantly clear after the conclusion of the Battle of Gettysburg that the South would endure final defeat, with General Lee's retreat back to Virginia. All told, at the conclusion of the Battle of Gettysburg, death and destruction reigned supreme. 28,063 Confederate soldiers and 23,049 Union soldiers were killed at the Battle of Gettysburg. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. The Union wanted to remember the victory at Gettysburg, so they decided to turn the battlefield into a national military cemetery. At its dedication on November the 19th of 1863, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his famous Gettysburg Address. Generally thought with a Confederate victory at Gettysburg, it would finally force the Union to submit and allow the Confederacy its independence. The Union wanted to remember the victory at Gettysburg, so they decided to turn the battlefield into a national military cemetery. At its dedication on November the 19th of 1863, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his famous Gettysburg Address. It is rumored that a train taking the Confederate dead back to the Confederate South measured approximately 17 miles long. At Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Lee's Army of the Northern Virginia met the Army of the Potomac, now under General George G. Meade, in the most famous battle ever fought on American soil. Off a large victory at the Battle of Chancellorsville, General Robert E. Lee and his Confederate troops had a confidence that they would win at Gettysburg. But coming off a large victory at the Battle of Chancellorsville, General Robert E. Lee and his Confederate troops had a confidence that they would win at Gettysburg. Sometimes it's a good idea to wear different hats. This is the hat of the Confederacy. Abraham Lincoln was an opponent of the Confederacy and the Confederacy cause.
Sergeant, you should shoot that new one. All right, boys. Hey, can we moon him?
Devastation wrought by this battle led about the same amount of casualties for the Union and the Confederates. It was a little bit less than 50,000 collectively that were killed in action.